Good morning. Welcome to Community Voice. I'm your host, Keith Parris. I want to thank everybody for joining us this morning. Good morning, Debo. Good morning,
Good
Jermaine.
morning,
Good
Bishop.
morning, bro,
And I
Keith.
know that Clark is not with us, so Clark, hopefully safe travel. Um,
Wow, you kind of said it like he's gone from this earth.
Yeah, when he said they're
He's
not with us,
I'm like, wait a minute.
you know
that's
how
that
that
preacher
works.
talk. It's that preacher talk.
He's no longer with us.
Yeah, you know how that works.
He riding in the back. He ain't riding
Yeah,
up front no more.
Right. Got that little black shroud over the seat.
Oh, you mean the one?
That he been trying to put on my seat
Right,
for about a year.
yeah. I need to stop.
You know, me and
that.
my mom used to laugh about this. You know, you hear something and somebody give you some false information, right?
Right.
Or you misunderstood what it was. And me and my mom always talk about how we would just be killing people.
Put him in the grave.
You know,
Yeah.
put them in the grave, man. It's just going like, no, mama, he right out still here.
See, why you gotta use me as an example? Use Debo.
No, leave me out of it. He been doing good.
Oh,
Yeah. So again, welcome everyone to the program this morning. Boy, a lot going on. I want to do Wednesday's word. Hopefully, we can have a discussion around this. You know, a lot of times to tell people that Jermaine. A lot of times to tell people that perception is reality. You know how we perceive people, and there's a term, a word that I'm going to use today. After the aftermath of yesterday's elections in Texas, North Carolina, Arkansas, and there was one other state, and I don't even know Arkansas. But the races that people were really watching yesterday was the race to fill Tom Tillis's seat in North Carolina. He's retiring Republican senator in North Carolina. Roy Cooper, the former governor of North Carolina, and Mr. Watley, the former chairman of the RNC, are going to be slated against each other. But the race that people really was watching was what was happening in Texas and the Texas Senate race, where John Cornyn, the incumbent, he's in a runoff now with Paxton, the embattled attorney general, yesterday. And so they have to do a runoff because you have to have 50 plus one in the primaries there in Texas. And the way it worked out was they were both under 50%. I think it's only about 2 or 3 point difference between the two of them, 42%, 40%. So this is already one of the most expensive Senate races in the country. A lot of resources are going in. Trump has not endorsed anybody in the race. And so everybody, those two men particularly, are running, with MAGA. So, and then, of course, the race between Jasmine Crockett and Mr. Tarico. That everyone was actually keeping an eye on. I was watching that one. That race stood out for a lot of reasons. Obviously, Jasmine Crockett, who has a national presence, and her run there in Texas, and hopefully I'm getting this guy's name right, Mr. Tarico. I saw, just as an aside, I saw there was a bill being debated in the Texas Assembly. And I saw Tellerico. There we go. I saw I don't know, State Rep Tellerico make this impassionate argument against the bill, and this was a couple of years ago, and he talked about how this bill, because a lot of times we couch a lot of these things in religious kind of dressing, so it's more palatable to people, right? My next message is going to be, what should our response be to white Christian nationalism? What should the Black church response be to white Christian nationalism? And but very impressive. My understanding is he's a seminary student. His grandfather was a pastor. But I was impressed with the argument that he made, because he used Matthew 25 to make the argument about how he's basically says that he doesn't recognize this Christianity that this bill author was putting forth. And then he talks about the responsibility to feed the hungry, to provide clothing for those who are naked, shelters for those who are unhoused. And so I was impressed. So with that said, setting that up, and again, phone lines open 414-444-5250. There's a term called electability. I don't know, electability. I don't know if Michelle kind of referred to it. And but in politics, it's about who has the best chance to be elected. And when you look at that, and I just asked the question, that one of the things that factors in is Clarence Avant always says it's about the numbers. Does the numbers really matter when it comes to electability? How much does perception matter? You know, how people view the candidate. How many people will then look at a candidate and say, you know what, Keith kind of represents those values that I espouse, and so then I will support Keith, or Keith doesn't, right? And the thing about democracy is that democracy really is emotional, right? I mean, that's why you see these shifts, these trends in the country where you'll have, and people, and, you know, real talk, people having a real emotional, visceral response to the Trump administration, to MAGA, right? People who had supported him. We talk about these independents who voted for him because of the economy. Again, a perception. Because if anybody looked at the numbers when it came to Donald Trump and business and the economy, you find out that this guy is a failed businessman, period. The number of times he's filed for bankruptcy. But perception, right? And this whole perception that for some in the electorate who believes that, you know, this idea that a white male is best suited to solve our problems, right? Kind of sounds like white Jesus, you know, going to solve our problems. And so that perception becomes the reality. Let me, as Wednesday, so the word is electability. Let me go to the word a little bit and talk about when the children of Israel looked around, because prior to this period, they were led by judges, and they looked around, everybody else had a king. And so they want a king too, because everybody else got a king. We want a king. And so when the prophet Samuel goes to the Lord and he says, you know, the people want a king. And God was saying, no. I'll take care of it. He said, no. They want a king. To the point even where one of my favorite kind of reminds us, those of us who carry the mantle, it says that he went back and he said, Lord, they rejected me. And God had to correct him and say, no, they rejected me, right? And so when you look at the description of Saul, he was handsome. He was a military leader. On paper, Saul looked real good. He looked real good. And then they got him, right? So it kind of almost gets to the question that Rideout asked this morning, if women are right, how you pick the wrong dude.
Right. That part.
Because a lot of times, and look, politics is passion. You know, they're not people who are sitting around crunching the numbers. They're not looking at, you know, micro targeting when you get up and you poll, micro polling to see. Now the professionals, that's what they do every day. The numbers really matter. Okay. So electability becomes a lot of different factors, right? So the question then becomes, and I kind of heard a little bit of what Meech was saying, what an amazing dude, where what a person looks like, the perception, what I see is what I might use to judge a person's ability to be able to lead. Okay. Then when you factor in historical data, when you factor in systemic disenfranchisement, when people come, there's a lot of emotion then that goes into why we vote, how we vote, who we vote for. So electability then comes down to, well, okay, Keith looks like a great candidate on paper. But as they say in sports, games are not played on paper, right? So I have all the numbers and all the numbers are lining up just right, and still I can lose a race. So I ask people from time to time, what do you look for in a candidate? You know, we have elections coming up. We have a primary, not a primary, we have a spring election coming up in April. And hopefully you all, if you haven't already, I mentioned this to my wife, if you haven't, I early vote. So I've already requested my ballots. As a matter of fact, I requested my ballots to the end of the year. So not only will I should receive a ballot for April, I should receive one for August, and then November, August being another primary. And then that would be like state assembly, certain Senate seats, the governor. And so then that will be up in August. That's the primary. The general election then will be in November. So I'm just, when people vote, what are they looking for? I know people have an emotional response. There is a magic number. There's a magic number. That magic number is 50. That magic number is 50. If you're looking at polling and you see that a person's at 50% or higher, the likelihood in that polling that that person can win the election are greater. Okay. If it's under 50, I'm sorry, then okay, maybe not so much. So if you look at that, so I'm always looking at that magic number 50. How many people get to 50% or more? Usually if you have 50% or more, obviously you're going to win. Certainly if you have 51%, that means that that's 1% more. So that 50% number becomes real important. Very few politicians will reach 50%. 50% becomes, even in the in our last presidential election, I don't think Trump got to 50%, right? So that 50% number becomes important. So last night, what I was watching was with all the shenanigans going on in Dallas County. What was that number? And Tellurico, I think, is at 53% now. And so now when the numbers, and I don't know, the question is how he will deal with this whole issue in Dallas County. I don't know what Jasmine Crockett is going to do. She has yet to concede the race. I think right now there's about a 7.5, 8-point difference in terms of the numbers. So we will see. But that question of electability, what, and here's another word that I used to hear this in the work environment. Who are you comfortable with? Right? If I'm comfortable with you, then hey, I'm probably going to vote for you. Caller, welcome to the program. Good morning. Hello. Hey.
Good morning, Brother Keith.
What's happening?
I just wanted to pose this question and also think about how we're putting this out there from a communal standpoint and organizing around this. Because I was having a discussion with somebody related to the election yesterday, and I understand the convenience around the mail-in ballots, but recognizing that the federal government has been intervening on our mailing processes, along with the fact that yesterday it became an issue where intervention was an open door to continue to use it as a tactic on the way that the election process is going. I'm just wondering from a communal standpoint, one, if we want to continue to maintain that as a practice, how are we organizing around transparency and advocacy for that not to be a factor that we're dealing with at the same time? Because a lot of the most committed voters that I know have been voting recently by mail-in, and I understand the convenience factor, but I also, because those who have wanted to suppress this voting process have used that as a channel to be suppressive in certain sense. I just wanted to raise that and kind of bring it to our attention, and also listen to what your reflection would be.
No, I was
around
gonna,
that.
but let me be a little bit more specific in terms of you're saying that. Well, let me do this. Part of the SAVE Act is to restrict people to do mail-in voting, right? That's part of it. So in my mind, because I know what the SAVE Act is out there for, it's part of a voter suppression move, then it must say to the Republicans that mail-in ballots are effective, right? For people who will, if I mail in my ballot or we have drop boxes here, then I'm not standing in line and I'm not at the wrong precinct, like which happened in Dallas County yesterday, right? So I guess that's the question is if they're trying to, because I think Oregon is all mail-in. Colorado is getting ready to go all mail-in terms of ballots. So, I mean, are you now, and let me do this. I also know that the Postmaster General had come out about a month ago saying that, we don't know how reliable the mail is going to be when it comes to delivering your ballot. That raises concern.
I think that's the piece that's the piece that I'm raising, in that it seems like it's become a channel for potential disruption, where we have the federal government that can play a role in delaying ballot request, delaying the process of receipt. And so I understand what you're speaking to. And again, I'm not a for or against. I'm just raising this as an issue area that has been discussed. Right. And because I know you were just speaking to it, just kind of wanted to hear your reflection.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's legitimate. And I'm really apprehensive about any mode of voting based on everything that we see that the Trump administration is trying to do. And remember, I started off with this saying that the numbers matter, right? So They have people out who are doing the micro polling, right? They know what the numbers look. They knew that they were going to lose the House, because that normally happens, right? First term, first midterm election after election of a new president, you're going to lose. If you're the majority, you're going to lose certainly the House. But right now, the Senate is in play. And I can tell you 6 months ago, the Senate wasn't in play in terms of Democrats being able to take control of the Senate, right? As a matter of fact, I think the CNN analysis this morning said that it's about a 56% chance, right, that the GOP can hold on to. So that number dropped from like 70%. So I'm just saying, so with all that in the backdrop of all of that, declaring an emergency, so then you can nationalize the elections. So you're right. There's a whole lot, but the question has to always be, why are they putting so much effort in making sure you can't go vote? And the numbers are telling them this is why you're trying to suppress the vote.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I agree.
Yeah.
I think, and here's the other thing that I was thinking, how much responsibility do I have as a voter, right? Because look, you got to have an ID now. When I first registered to vote, you didn't have to have an ID to vote, right? You had to have an ID to register, but you didn't have to have an ID to vote. So with these things, these are voter suppression moves, right? How much responsibility then do I have as a citizen to say, I need to know where I need to vote? How many of us go to my vote to see if the precincts have changed, right? So I'm just asking that. So I'll ask you that question. How much responsibility do we have as voters to make sure that our franchise is protected?
Yeah, I'm a proponent for community organizing and advocacy, and I would say in the spirit of new leadership, civic media, and what this station represents, WNOB needs to be a hub for a process and an opportunity for us not to feel as though we are on islands by ourselves to be individuals in organizing this, but that a communal effort needs to be led to protect, this right and what is dutiful to the responsibility of us being citizens. So I never call with the spirit of what y'all gonna do or what they're gonna do. I always call with the spirit of how can we make it happen together. So just know that's where I'm always coming from.
No, always. And I agree with you. And I think now that folks have to be, one of the things with Jasmine Crockett, there was the approach that Tallarico was taking was we need to reach out to moderate voters. Jasmine Crockett's but part of her approach was, no, we just need to turn out voters. They did a great job of turning out voters. They just did again, I'm just watching the stats, and they talked about that this was one of the highest primary turnouts, if not the highest, in the 2000s. So you had folks there. So is that part of the strategy, or do we do both? You try to reach out to more moderate voters on the statewide level, but you also need to turn out your base.
Absolutely. I think it's a both and.
Okay.
So, obviously we'll continue to build on this discussion, but just wanted to raise it up as you were talking about mail-in.
All right.
Absolutely. Good talking to y'all.
Right.
And thank you for everything you did.
I appreciate you. No, we have that conversation, and I would have said this. Had it been like a 1-point difference in Tallarico and Crockett's outcome on one level, you said we need to take a look. And the amazing thing is where this dude came from, because just 2 months ago, her polling numbers were incredible. But that whole, was it the Colbert show? Who was it that they wouldn't allow him? They didn't want to show the the segment that he was on, and he ended up raising $2.5 million just based on that. He had the money. I was looking at the demographics though in Texas, and right now it's evenly divided between Hispanics and whites. Whites 40%, Hispanics 40%. Blacks make up about 13%. Okay, so not knowing this last election, the last presidential election, it was Latino voters, primarily Latino males, and then Trump was able to make inroads into the black community, primarily black males, where it was just enough, and that was a margin election where you could win it. Now, based on everything that he has done, I'm sure there's a segment of the Hispanic community that's having buyer's remorse, right? Here's the other thing, man. God, this we act surprised when we find out Trump is lying. I mean, people today, like he lies. Yeah. When he opens his mouth, you can't trust anything that comes out of his mouth because he lies. Well, look, in his first administration, didn't the Washington Post said he lied over 33,000 times? That's like breathing. So why are we tripping? I know why we tripping. Why are we surprised that he's lying? And then you get people around him. They follow the lead. They lie. But see, you get all these lies going on, and people can't keep up with the lies. So Marco Rubio, because he's pressed, he comes out, and I was giving him credit that he just does not deserve. He is not ready for prime time. I thought, oh man, dude. So he comes out right before the day before. I never think it was a briefing, and he said, "Look, the reason why we attacked Iran was that we knew that Israel was going to attack Iran, and that if Israel attacked Iran, then the Iranians were going to go after American assets." Okay, here's the problem. During the 12-day war, Israel attacked Iran, and Iran did not attack American assets. Okay? I know it wasn't that long ago. So, yeah, he lies. He lies. But here's the thing. It's the collateral damage of his lies. Okay? So he went in because he never wanted, because his ego is such that the idea that, was Israel, he go, no, it was me. Well, thank you. I guess a broken clock is right twice a day. It was you. But what impact is it having? Go to the gas station. Your gas prices are going up, right? Um, you're looking at the stock market right now is volatile. Okay, so now it's going to have economic, and then these clowns don't even have an end game. They don't have an end game, and so okay, so you take out the leadership. Now you create this vacuum, and if there are different groups there, and look, first of all, and look, I understand how people feel about Iran, but people kind of look at them as being backwards, and they're very sophisticated people. I mean, when you're looking at those strategic, when they're sending up the missiles and the drones, that's based on intelligence and knowing where these assets are and knowing what the vulnerability of these assets are. So, when you go, so I think he thought, he being Trump, we'll do what we did in Venezuela. The Venezuelan people are not organized like the Iranian people. And yes, the Iranian people want to see an end to that theocratic leadership that they had in the country, that there are a lot of people, but they've done a great job of they being that Iranian leadership of suppressing any kind of dissent. What was the first thing they did when they heard that there might be a possibility of war? They shut down the internet. So groups can't even communicate with each other to organize resistance, right? So this is not going to be this little in and out, and we did what we did in Venezuela, and everything is cool. This is a totally different animal. And the fact that Netanyahu has so much influence when it comes to Donald Trump, that should be frightening. Okay? Because look, Netanyahu is concerned about Israel and Israel's interests. He could care less about Americans' interests unless Americans' interest lines up with Israel's interest. Okay, so yeah, you can go in and you can do all of this, but Colin Powell said it. If you break it, you own it. You're listening to Community Voice Caller. I see you. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to grab you right after the break. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to Community Voice. Caller, I thank you for your patience. Welcome to the program.
Hey, good morning to you, Doc. Hey,
Morning.
I'm listening to you, and you said, man, the old president we got tell a lot of lies. Well, I'm sure he do. But one thing about this Iran deal, when he ran at some of his rallies, remember he said, I'm going to bomb the S out of them. He already come into office with this. He ain't lied about that. He said, I'm going to bomb the S out of them. Remember that? You probably can still pull that up somewhere. He ran on the idea that he was going to bomb Iran. Now, you said something about Colin Powell did make a great statement. And the statement was, if you break it, you fix it.
No,
well,
if you break it, you own it.
Well, same thing.
No, big difference.
Okay. We've
His point is that once you go in, you just can't go in and then and your pull-out game ain't that strong. You just can't go in and pull out. You gotta be there because you have to be able to manage that, right? Now, if they can go in and say, hey, we brought down their infrastructure, certainly their military infrastructure. We went through all of that. We wiped out their leadership. But what you underestimated was the will of those people who are lower level to maintain their status quo. That was the mistake that America made of the many mistakes they made when they went into Vietnam. They underestimated the will of the Vietnamese people, right, to be able to fight for their freedom. They underestimated that. They thought sure power.
Okay, you keep saying, you like David Crowley now. You keep saying right, and that's supposed to lead me in the direction of saying okay and acceptance.
No, you don't have to accept it. It doesn't make it any less a fact because you don't accept it.
Well, if you look at Vietnam as a kid, looking at in social studies, you'll realize that who helped them, the China's Red Army. The communists helped Vietnam keep fighting that. Now, if the Chinese get involved, then I'm sure that Iran, or if Russia gets involved, I'm sure that Iran will last a really long time. You see that 12-day war, what was it called? Operation Hammer, Midnight Hammer or something? What was it called?
The impact that is having on Russia is that Russia buys its drones from Iran. Iran is using their drones in this war with America. So now it's going to, at some point, have impact on Russia's war in Ukraine.
Well, listen, you 100% correct. But check this out. We're not worried about that. And Russia is quite, to be honest with you, I really believe this. This is just my thinking now. I really believe they're quite excited about it because it turns all the attention off of what they're doing. And it might have been a plan. They might have sat down him and the president and said, look, we're going to go on and do this here, man. We turn our heads to this, and you got to. These people deal like that, man. These people they deal like that. I don't care how we want to play the game, and we want to alienate ourselves and be stuck up on trying to get something done. These people sit at the table and say, look, I do this, you do that. I'm still trying to figure out what Obama and Putin got caught on the mics. And remember that hot mic? And Obama said, well, wait till after the election. I'm still wondering what was he saying? Wait till after the election.
Okay, Beach, why don't you get back to where we are today?
Okay.
And I'm sorry I brought up Vietnam.
Okay, we'll check this here out. We'll get back. Vietnam would have been wiped out long before then had it not been for the Chinese.
The only way that they would have been able to do it was to drop a nuclear device, something that Goldwater had taught.
No, they were already defeated. The Chinese kept bringing it.
If you go in and look at what was happening in Vietnam.
I don't look at it. I studied it because
if you look at what was happening in Vietnam, first of all, we underestimated the Vietnamese people. You do that at your own peril because what they were able to do, plus you fighting on, it's like me coming in your neighborhood, getting in the fight. I'm in trouble because I'm in your neighborhood. You know every gangway, you know this, you know that, you know all that about your neighborhood. So when you go in and say that you're going to attack a country, yeah, you can do it in the air. But from what I'm hearing analysts say, you won't be able to maintain it. Sure, you can just bomb them into that's what they tried to do in Afghanistan. It didn't really move the needle. So then they found themselves there for 20 years. They were there longer than the Russians were. You think you would have learned when the Russians invaded Afghanistan.
Russia was there for about 10 years.
We were there for over 20.
No, I said Russia was there for about 10.
About 10, and they found out. So this idea that you can go in, and I just think it's wow, what a costly distraction from the Epstein files.
Okay,
Because that's
but hold
all
on.
this is.
The man already promised on the campaign trail before the Epstein files were really a major deal that he was going to bomb Iran.
No,
So
he
let's
also
fix that out
said
of
that
there.
he didn't. He went after Obama, and they play a clip in 2015 where he goes in and says Obama is going to go into Iran to distract us from his policies.
Well,
Something
that's
that
just
never
very
happened,
well.
by the way.
Well, can I say this to you? Let's get back to this right quick. I'm glad. Well, we're kind of jumping around, but now, is there any particular reason that America is so bent over heels to protect our ally Israel? Why is it that? Could you tell the people why America?
I don't know. And I don't know if it's Israel as much as it is Netanyahu.
No. We've been there before Netanyahu.
And part of why Netanyahu wants continuous wars is that he's currently under criminal investigation in Israel. Okay, right? Listen. So he figures as long as I'm a wartime president.
We got to go back before Netanyahu, brother. Netanyahu really is a Polish person. What is he really Polish? He was born in that place over there right outside of Jerusalem.
Netanyahu wasn't he ambassador?
His mother or somebody is Polish.
He was here. He was ambassador to either
but he
the U.S. or
here. He was born in that little town.
Yeah, but he was also he spent in that's why his English is so good in terms of when you hear him because the time he spent in America.
Listen, the gayest town over there, that's the town he was born in.
The gayest? What does that got to do with anything, man?
No, I'm just bringing it up that he was born there.
Okay.
Now he's from a Polish descent. That's not the reason why America is so bent over heels with protecting Israel. See, first of all, you have to realize the Romans have dominated region side, committed homicide, genocide, that whole region. And the Romans, that European government, owns that particular place.
What are you talking about, man?
I'm going to show you why they can't afford to let a black. Look here, if you let Arab take that over all the way, or you let the African people take it over, you done away with the Pope being white. Okay, you do away with the white Jesus. So that must be protected. It must not never be given away because the religious belief is so strong.
You asked the question: Why is America so in lockstep with Israel? Isn't that the question you asked?
I just told you why, brother. Because you can't afford to allow a black face over there. Because now in 20 years, your kids learn Jesus black. You teaching the black Jesus. You teaching some Arab looking Jesus. Okay, you must maintain the status quo of who it is and who it's been for hundreds of years before Jesus Christ, during Jesus Christ's time.
You know, one of the ironies is in them going.
That's the only reason, brother. Because Israel.
If you go back, if you understand biblical anthropology, Abraham came from Mesopotamia.
Okay.
Right, which is so
that
Abraham,
would be black. That would be black you, man.
No, it wouldn't. It would be Asia. It would be what we call Persia, which is modern Iran.
This dude already done accept. If you go to Iran, those are the Mongolians, man.
No, they're Persian, man.
But and the Persian is what? A Mongolian. What is a Mongolian? A Chinese-looking person. They conquered that. Come on now. If you're gonna go with me, go with me.
I can't go with you on that, man, because
the Mongolians didn't conquer the Saudi
Arabian. You're talking about Kublai Khan?
Man, no, before him.
Who was before Kublai Khan?
That was the grandson of somebody, man. But I can't quite remember. Right. But I tell you what.
Why don't I let you do this? You go and you look it up, and then you call me back. Let me.
Well, but I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to tell you when you get your.
Just look it up. Call me back. I'm gonna get the next call. Caller, welcome to the program.
What up, Keith? It's Biko.
Hey, Biko, what's happening?
Yeah, I just I really appreciate Meech calling in. He has great ideas, and he really brings a good personality to the radio. But one thing I just would ask for him to be thoughtful about is disrespecting black women, particularly those in power who a lot of people look up to.
Right.
The previous show, he talked about Jasmine Crockett. Said the way she looked and dressed because of her hair and eyelashes, and what he was saying to me took me back to when I was a child. and I saw my Aunt Tressie and Aunt Amy wearing blonde hair and eyelashes, and my grandmother being real jazzy. And, you know, the NOV is about Black power right now. Black women are in power, and we need to support and celebrate them. My great mentor and elder, Harry Belafonte, said when we got problems with people, we should not do the call out first, we should call people in. And so, you know, I really encourage us with particularly our Black women in power to call them in and have a conversation with them as brothers, as opposed to drastically calling them out in the way that he did in the previous show. I think we should always have Black women's back.
And I appreciate that. And, you know, but, you know, part of this conversation, though, is perception, right? And how we, you know, when we were having this conversation around Jamal Bryant's wife, Dr. Turner, and the dress, it became a perception. And even I had religious people using these derogatory terms to describe her. They didn't know what this woman was doing, but they went on that. And that's real in our community. Stacey Abrams, there was a lot of brothers who had issues with Stacey Abrams. She was smart, and they had problems with her African look.
Yeah.
So, you know, so when we have this, you know, the misogynism sometimes that we have as men, and I appreciate you calling us out on our misogynism, especially when it comes to perceptions or how we perceive Black women. Because a lot of times, you know, we're running around doing the damage.
Yeah, man. Holy, that's a good one.
You know what I'm saying?
I
got to be careful.
The key thing here is that a lot of the younger generation, Keith, is looking and dressing like this every single day. So when we talk about women like that, what we're doing is we're distancing ourselves from the youth who have embraced the new beauty standards. Beauty standards are cyclical. You know what I mean? And but I appreciate it, though. I appreciate the talk.
No, I appreciate you coming in, because you're right. Because when I heard it, it was the same thing. You know, and now part of the discussion I was having is that whole electability piece is how people view you when they see you, right? You know, what does that look like? That's why you notice this, that when you have males running for, certainly on the Democratic side, when they're running, you know, they got the flannel shirt and the vest. Man, I'm so tired of I don't know if there's a Democratic store where you get your uniform, you know, because you're trying to look like the average everyday guy, right? I don't know if the average everyday guy is wearing flannel shirts and a vest. Who is that? So there's all these things, because our perception becomes our reality, and then our perception is also formed by our lived experiences, our age, right? You just talked about some of the stuff that I saw women wearing when I was young, like in this 20-something demographic. It you know, what's the difference?
Come on.
Yeah, and I appreciate, but yeah, I think how we have this conversation, because is it how I dress, or am I more than how I dress? You know,
yeah, I think that's a good point that the elected officials got to think about. You know, all of us, you got to wear a uniform when you go to work.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll say this, you know, and I got to go into this classroom. But Jasmine Crockett is only 44 years old, and at first I thought she was younger. You know what I mean? Because the way she presents, but she's such a strong, powerful woman that we have to support her going forward. She's not done in her career. You know what I mean?
But
and so,
can I, you know, just real talk. But for some, let's just talk about African-American men. For some African-American men, that's off-putting. That she's strong, that she's smart, right? She controls her narrative. And for some brothers, that's a hard one.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, you know, I would say that's a generational thing. I think that the younger you get, the more, you know, the more that younger men are able to work with women of power, you know, but for me, that's, I mean, I'm not to be cliche or even be off-putting, but to me, that's sexy. A strong, smart woman who have your back, that's going to go fight for you. And then the thing is, when Black women get in office, they fight for Black people the strongest. Right. Almost sometimes to a default. It's like, sister, I get it. So, like, I understand definitely, because of I'm not of Brother Meech's generation, and I have a lot of respect for him and his struggle and where he's come from. But I just feel as we move to the millennials and Gen Zs in power, we have to be really thoughtful about how we talk about Black women, because they are going to be the ones who are going to be controlling the power. You know, and there's nothing that any of us can do about the demographic change.
Let me ask you,
that, other than be supportive.
I hope this is not too personal a question. So, did you grow up around strong black women?
Man,
okay.
I lived in my grandma's house.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. See, if you exposed to that, you appreciate that, right? You know, and so I think that influence that you have. There's a scene in The Wire. They had rounded up all these teenage kids, right? These kids are wild and out in the gym. The cops can't get them to sit down. Nobody can get them to sit down. The female principal sister walks in, and immediately they sat down because they respected the power of that black woman. That was one of those things like, yeah, so brothers, we need to be careful. I'm with you, bro, Biko. You know, people ask, what's your type of woman? Smart, strong. I'm not off put by it, as a matter of fact, because I grew up around it. You know, my mother had to be strong. That our survival depended on my mama's strength. And thank God she stepped up to it. So when it comes, that's a reasonable expectation that you be smart and that you be strong.
Amen.
All right.
Appreciate your show, Brother Keith.
All
Thank
right.
you.
All right. Caller, welcome to the program.
Yes, Keith. My name is Pastor Mike Jewett, and I heard you allude earlier to the fact that Mr. Trump was trying to dissuade or cover up the Epstein files and things of that nature. I also wanted to ask you a question and hear your take on, do you think also with the cover-up of the files that he's trying to create an economy for his oil-rich buddies so that they can make some money as well? So we know now that oil prices are spiking and those who have investments are going to get paid. So would you also include that as part of his reason for the Iranian incident?
Yeah, and I would also think that you saw certain things that, you know, petrodollars are still powerful, right? The petrodollars, I mean, it is. So we're trying to bring down reliance on solar energy, even though China has really expanded its use of solar energy. Electric cars, right? Because if I have an electric car, that means that, you know, my gas. Here's a little thing that, and great point. Here's a little thing people missed. In California, they have outlawed plastic straws.
Yes, right.
Right? Well, who's upset about them outlawing plastic straws? The Petroleum Institute, because the petroleum industry, because plastic is made from petroleum.
Absolutely.
You know, and what plastics are doing to our whole throwing off the climate temperature, you know, and then we got another one out here, which is kind of, what are we doing with these batteries? That's a different piece. When they said that there are as many cell phones in the world as people, that told me something. That's like, but you're right on point that it is. And then when you're looking at the oil piece there, because certain things happen, like as soon as this war broke out, the insurance companies that cover those oil tankers, they ended the insurance company. So Trump had to come out and say, well, we'll cover the cost, and then we'll do a naval naval escort through the Strait of Hormuz, right? But it's the money. And here's the thing with Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein, people believe, was working with the Israeli government to be able to get information on people, compromise them, right?
Yes.
And then the other thing he was a money launderer.
Absolutely.
So when everybody's all up here with the salacious sex stuff, you need to follow the dollars. That was the concern. Okay, I'm in this picture. We can get past the whole sexual scandal, but when it starts talking about that money, and the money that the Trump family has made since they've been in office the second time.
Absolutely.
No, but that's a good point, man, that, you know, it's always, we found this out in Watergate. What did they say? Follow the money.
Follow the money.
Follow the money. Cash rules everything around me.
That's right.
Hey, man, cash over everything. I got a third one for you. If it don't make dollars.
It don't make
No, man, that's a good point. And I think that's why you have to be vigilant and
Yes,
kind of
sir.
go like, hey, wait a minute, what's going on with this? Now, I don't
Yeah.
know how true it is, but they were saying that the Iranians said, look, y'all can come and get this enriched uranium.
Yeah.
And they walked away from it.
Absolutely.
So when you hear Trump saying that, oh, no, they weren't operating in good faith, look, they got to operate from the self-interest of Iran, not at the self-interest of America.
Right.
You know,
right.
so yeah, but when you said that and all the things, but he wanted to do this. And here's the thing, because they're not serious thinking people,
Absolutely.
they're doing things that will have dramatic collateral damage to not just people in America, but to the world. They're mad. He's mad at Spain. He's mad at England because they're going like, dude, you pulling us into something. You didn't consult us before you did it.
Right. You didn't ask.
You didn't ask. You went in and did it. And then you say, hey, you're supposed to have my back. And then we hear about how you won't necessarily have NATO's back.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I was listening, and that just kind of churned me a little bit, because I'm thinking, I heard Hedgehog, Hedgehog, whatever his name. But anyway, I heard him talking about soldiers being sworn to uphold the Constitution, but at every opportunity they get, they bypass the Constitution. So
exactly.
how hypocritical is that? So I just want to throw that in, brother, and I'll take the rest of the comments off the air. Well, God bless you and thank you, sir.
I appreciate it, man, and thank you for your input.
Yes, sir.
414-444-5250. 414-444-5250. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. All right, welcome back. And Wednesday's word is electability. What does that mean? Sometimes there's another word like comfort, and like we're just comfortable with the candidate. I guess the question would be, how much of myself do I give up in order to be elected? How much do and if it's stylistic, if it's substantive, how much of that do I give up, in order to be elected? Caller, welcome to the program.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I just want to give a highlight on some things what Donald Trump is doing, and that a lot of people forgot. Donald Trump, this is not his first time doing what he did to show his racism and his greed. You remember his first term, what he did with the natives. He took over the treaty land, forced them off the land, and through zero below weather, and sprayed them with cold water while they were trying to protect their land from Donald Trump trying to have an oil line, ran through their sacred land. If you remember that.
Yep.
Now, the whole thing is that Donald Trump bankrupted 6 times, okay? How can someone could be trusted to bankrupt 6 times and then to make a plan or idea that they could do a war, okay, and think that they know what they're talking about or how it's going to happen? First of all, he did not warn us, okay? That would have left us dead if it had been a retaliation, if Russia would have came across Canada or something like that from just on a distraction, okay? War. This is a distraction war for the Epstein files and to alleviate the midterms. And he knows that if he started a war right now, a war can go on as long as his doggone presidentiary. And he know that his plan to try to become a ruler this would be the first take, okay, is to kill the midterms, make the distraction, and throw us into a war. But the thing is, how can someone try to fight 4 or 5 different countries at one time and thinking that we have all the manpower to send all over to fight at one time? That just shows you he doesn't know what he's doing. Remember, when he got in, he said he had a concept how things could go, but not a plan, a concept, okay? This concept, it was not even something that was for sure. It's just an idea that hasn't not been vetted or proven that it would work, okay? What it is, Donald Trump is breaking America. If y'all didn't hear him say on his one opening of his speech that he's not American, that he's fully German, and he's Sweden, okay? That right then and there should have disallowed him to be the president just off claiming that he's not American and he was trying to take away birthright citizen, okay? So within Donald Trump being, he's only a second generation versus all the vast of the American people that's here by force or choice, wherever it may become. How can someone that's only a second generation invite all these foreigners in, okay, to switch up America's allies, original allies, and to go to the adversaries? And plus, he didn't, when he got in for his inauguration, he didn't even place his hand on the Bible. And that's number one thing that he should.
It would have burned.
It would have, yeah. But it just shows that you wasn't going to get him telling no lie on the Bible. Now, this man has showed you that he wasn't going to put his hand on the Bible. So his presidency should not have been legit, okay? There's so many things that America overlooked.
Isn't that symbolic?
Yeah. That, and then now he's talking about he's Christian. He didn't fool Christians about, and his Christians need to stand up because now they're looking bad. They're really looking bad to say, you're going to let a man say that y'all killers, okay? The only thing that he got Christians on, and he figured that some of the people will look at it at the same way as him, is to throw the LGB all up in it and talk about the sports of what they're being in. But the whole thing is he's playing on people intelligence, okay? That he knows that what people anxiety would be about and what they fear would be about, okay? Now, he's sitting up here talking about now today Iranian. Mike Johnson talking about we got Iranians all up, and y'all should have thought about all of that stuff before you did that. You got American Iranians here. Now you trying to go after them and say that they are in America, but y'all didn't take into consideration of what you were doing in the first doggone place. So anyone that bankrupt 6 times should not have an opportunity to be the president, okay? And then he did not show his doggone taxes. He did not show his taxes because you know why? He scammed New York out of 40 years of a waiver that he wouldn't have to pay any money back to New York. And it came to the time that he had to pay up. That's why he threw himself into the presidential run to stop tax evasion and to stop New York from being able to take him to court for 40 years of tax delinquency. Okay,
well,
they allow him.
Let me ask you this: what was going on prior to the election? Why? And people were saying it, and we just all in the noise. Who could vote for him? We found out people could. One of the fears that he had was if he wasn't elected president, didn't he have 3 federal cases pending?
Yeah, he had 3 federal cases pending. And the thing about it, oligarchs, okay, the billionaires needs to be investigated that voted for him. Because the first term, they robbed America by giving all those doggone special senators back tax breaks to the billionaires. And what it is now, the billionaires figure out that there's no king or queen here, and that's why it's never accepted. America is open for crooks to do whatever they want. And here's the thing. They know they can't be stopped if they spending money all together to get somebody to be elected. They figured that they don't want to pay tax here. They ought to leave here. And the thing is that they think that all the money is theirs because they're billionaires, and they think that they can just take all the money back that they have put in for as tax. And this whole panel, everybody that he hired needs to be indicted. Matter of fact, all of them need to be sent to alligator Alcatraz because that's a reflection of slavery. That's what they was doing to the baby kids, throwing them up in the doggone Everglades and attract the alligators and using them for bait, okay? Right. To be going backwards, listen, one of the things that the aliens said, now if y'all don't understand, they say illegal aliens, aliens. We don't know how humans became aliens, but I know the one thing the aliens did say. The future cannot have a place. I mean, the past cannot have a place in the future, and you can never get to the future constantly bringing the past up front. And the only thing that the Republicans do, and what they are doing, and what they are about, Republican population control. Okay. And the way that America is put together, they want to tear it down and bankrupt America, where another country bomb all the poor peoples here and all the oligarchs go underground in the mountains and stuff, and then come after later. Now all the poor people, middle class, would be wiped out, and they will only run the country. Okay?
Right. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Caller, welcome to the... No?
Man, it's going down today, man.
It's going down.
It's going down.
Meet me at the mall. It's going down. Meet me at the club. It's going down.
Yeah, meet me on 20th.
It's going down. That's what Kennedy used to say to me. You going down. What you know about going down?
It reminded me of the cartoon. The toilet tissue go down the hole.
Hey, let me. Well, as I was sitting here and I had this. This moment, and so I'm asking you, may I use "If You So Right" while you're making wrong choices? Can that be?
Yeah.
Help us.
Yeah. Hey man. Sometimes are you really?
If you so right,
yeah.
Why you make all these wrong choices?
I mean, and if women are right and men are wrong, is it that men are wrong when they say women are right?
I think if you want to survive in your relationship,
you better agree that they're right.
And you know what?
Yeah.
I hope they don't take my bro card.
It's coming.
But they're usually right. They're usually right. I mean, you be sitting up there grudgingly going like, yeah, well, you're right. But you know what? I'm a man. I'm gonna stand on it. You know, I mean, you know, where I'm gonna be dead wrong, but yeah, they now I will say this. Just because you're right, don't do wrong in your right. And what I mean by that is, I got that you right, but don't follow me all through the house, reminding me how right. I didn't get it. I heard it the first time. You right. We still talking about it 30 minutes later. Sometimes just be right. You know, just go and sit in your little corner and carry on. But no.
Yeah, some of these questions make you ask yourself, it gotta be a science.
Wake up in the morning. We still talking about you being right from yesterday. It's a whole nother day. Dude, it'd be like, and especially after they done told you and you went and did it. They're gonna wear you out. And I'm not, that's not all women. So let me not be pejorative when it comes to, well, it's a pretty high number. It's a high number. And I'm too scared the one time I was right. And she looking at me like, you gonna bring that up again? I'm going, no, I'm gonna fall back. No, you hear that from me. You.
See, but what I do, I always get them with, you know what, you right and I'm wrong, and that just do something to them. I don't know why.
Because a kind word turneth away wrath.
Yeah, I try. Like, you know what, you
know,
right,
baby, you right.
And I'm wrong.
And I'm so wrong.
Oh,
she don't know what to do, right? No, because the plan was, I know I have to go like 8 rounds. Yeah, I'm gonna take the TKO, right? No, Michael Spinks falling before you get in the ring. No, dude. Who was it? Was it Tex Cobb or who was the Beyond bleeder? Chuck Wepner. So whoever was fighting Larry Holmes just whooped him so bad. And they said, so when did you realize you were in trouble in the fight? He said, when I signed for it. I was trouble before I even got in the ring.
I forgot who that one boxer was, but they was in the ring, they was warming up. You know, he was jumping around, the mouth guard in, and the announcers was announcing the fighter. So he announced the fighter in the blue corner. He was in the red corner. In the red corner, I forgot his name. He raised his hand. They hit the bell. Ding! This dude went to the rope, went underneath the rope, and walked out of the.
Oh, he don't get paid.
He walked.
See, at least Michael Spinks took a couple of blows so he get his check.
Yeah, this cat.
Yeah, get your check.
Man, this is the funniest thing ever.
But Michael Spinks probably had one of the most profound responses. He was fighting Larry Holmes, and Larry Holmes hit him so hard. I felt it. I felt it at home. He hit him so hard. He kind of stumbled a little bit, turned his back, and walked away.
Like, I quit.
No, he didn't quit. He just turned his back, walked away. So after the fight, they said when he hit you, you turned. What were you thinking when you turned and you walked away? He said, "I've been here too long. I've been here too long. I got to move from this spot." So, brothers, if we give you advice, that if she's right, just acknowledge it.
Yeah. Just say she's right and you're wrong.
Yeah, just acknowledge it, because trust me, she's gonna remind you
every chance she get. Every chance she gets.
My favorite chapter in the Bible is 1 Corinthians 13th chapter.
Yeah,
this is my favorite just chapter in the Bible, right?
Yeah.
And one of the things when it talks about what love does and what love doesn't do, it says one thing that love doesn't do is keep score.
Yeah. Fool yourself. It keeps score. But I'm gonna tell you this though. Some relationships, people shouldn't be in. That's almost like
that's deep.
That's almost like a man with no legs that kick you in the butt. You deserve to get your butt kicked. So you probably shouldn't have been there. This ain't for you. So some relationships is like that. Like you just let her be.
I was listening to an interview as part of this documentary called Shining Star on Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Mm.
And Philip Bailey was just, really appreciative of how over the years how the, folks have just loved the music.
Mm.
And he told the story. He said, I had people coming up to me saying that I played Reasons at my wedding. He said, did you listen to the lyrics?
You must didn't listen to the lyrics.
You must not have listened to the lyrics.
Yeah.
In the morning when I rise,
Yeah.
no longer feeling hypnotized,
Yeah.
can't find the reasons. He was like,
Yeah.
It's a beautiful song. I mean, thank you, Larry Dunn,
Well,
Charles Stepney.
Well, people was probably listening to the chorus. The reasons.
Oh man, I'm telling you, I look, I was in. That was part of my little love soundtrack when I was like 18 years old.
Mm.
Right. And it wasn't until one day I was actually listening and I was reading the lyrics on the toilet. And
what a profound place to read.
Right. Oh, man. And I was like, oh, they're talking about a one-night stand.
Yeah.
Oh.
Disappear.
So my junior year, every spring we'd have like a party at the end of the year, end of the year, we party picnic. And, when I'm getting ready to do what I need to do, start playing Reasons. Hint.
Reasons.
hint.
Reasons that we're here.
That is, but yeah, that's Larry Dunn. That's Larry Dunn, Charles Stepney. That is a beautiful song though.
Yeah.
It is. And of course, Philip Bailey, his voice is just perfect.
Yeah.
For that song. He it was just perfect. Michelle was saying that she was going through Lakeisha's albums yesterday, and I go, if you go in now, I sometimes I can do a deep search when it comes to pulling up music and some of the songs. Oh, and guess what was on PBS Monday?
What was that?
Barry Manilow was in concert.
Really?
Yeah. He did Mandy. He did Copacabana. At the Copa. One of my favorite, what is it? Is it this song, something New England? Barry Manilow wrote some great songs. I mean, now there's a lot of people that's pop and they don't get down with it. But there's a lot of, I like a real good love song.
Yeah.
I love a great love song. But there's a song that that Lettucey did called, I want to say Bitter Earth. Have you heard it?
Bitter Earth.
Bitter Earth. God, what a beautiful song. Bitter Earth. Lettucey. I was listening to it. But yeah, just beautiful songs.
Wow.
Giannis is back, huh? Bitter
Yeah.
Earth. Did I say Bitter Earth? I did say
Yeah.
Bitter Earth. Yep.
Mm.
Let me do the lyrics here. You gotta do the lyrics. Keith the Lyric Killer. He just released it this year. Full lyrics. Come on, full lyrics. Full lyrics. This bitter earth, what fruit it bears, what good is love that no one shares. If my life is like the dust that hides the glow of a rose, what good am I? Heaven only knows. Oh, this bitter earth can be so cold. Today you're young, too soon you're old. But while a voice within me cries, I'm sure someone may answer my call. And this bitter earth may not be so bitter at all. The bitter earth can be so cold. While a voice within me cries, I'm sure someone may answer my call. And this bitter earth may not be bitter after all. This is a beautiful song. But anyway, that's Lettucey. She just released it this year. Lettucey will be in Milwaukee, May 16th. Caller, welcome to the program. Good morning.
Yes, I heard a gentleman earlier today. He was talking about how they was trying to take us back. And what I wanted to say, they can't take us back. They would like to. You have to remember they're old, they're dried up. Their mentality is stuck in a cave. They have become a poison, a disease. Every day they talk and breathe, they're walking death. They're walking death and rot as the rigor mortis and the stank starts to set in from the dry rot and the ignorance within their soul that came from their mammy and their pappy. The only thing black people can do is continue to push back. We can't worry about these Republicans because the Republicans laid the groundwork. They got mad at the Mexicans, but it was the white Republicans who was hiring them. But it was the words of Trump who said, if I was going to be a politician, I'd be a Republican because these Republicans is dumb. Just listen to how some of them talk. They will get mad at the drug dealer, but don't get mad at the drug user. And you don't have to worry about the fentanyl no more because now they're getting high off of bed bugs. They're grinding up bed bugs and they're shooting in their blood vein because they want to hallucinate. Okay? So what we have to do is continue not to be the bigger person, but be the best person. And you don't have to turn the other cheek. You stand your ground, but remember, they're disease. They're a poison. They sat their life dead, coke and dope, and pointed the finger at everybody versus pointing at themselves. But when they drop dead and they rot in a casket as they are maggot food and protein for the wood, because that's bad fertilizer for rose bushes and vegetables. All you can say is rot and death because you're not welcome in heaven and the devil showing don't want them down in hell. So look at these racists and just let them rot. And if they say something to you, tell them have a great day and may you die in agony and pain. And if you see them get hit by a Mack truck and their guts is hanging out of them like a raccoon or a dead dog, don't dial 911, just ride over them and keep on moving and never look back. Have a great day.
Yikes. Man.
You're listening to Community Voice. What time is it?
Man, it's time to get some water, man. It's kind of rough in here, Jack. Man, it's kind of rough. Ooh.
You know, and thank you, Dr. Demetrius Williams. You know, I tell people when you read scripture, you should read it in totality. You know, now I know sometimes we take the verse and we're able to build off that verse. It's just so powerful, can stand alone. But that Psalms that asked the question, how can we sing a song in a strange land?
Okay. Commission?
No, it's Psalms.
Oh, Psalms.
Yeah. But he said, you know, you need to keep reading because when you begin to read, you get down towards the bottom, they're wishing all this evil on their captors. I mean, it is not one of those kumbaya, let's reconcile. They wanted vengeance because of their suffering. And I thought, oh, because you know, we get that. How can I sing a new song in a strange land? And you know, we get into the poetry of it, but there's some prose there. And that's what people feel. You know, and I don't want to be I don't want to over generalize, but I think sometimes Black people can be the most forgiving people on the planet.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's like now everybody else, when attacked, the first thing is not to turn the other cheek. It is to respond to the aggressor. When I think it was Augustine, when they were talking about just war in the Catholic Church and coming around with a theology to when a nation should go to war, one of the things that Augustine said is that an unjust aggressor forfeits right to life. You give up your right when you're an unjust aggressor, right? That's kind of where stand your ground laws come from. To this, that you know, you can't just come in my house, right, and be aggressive, and I don't have the right to defend myself. You know, and even when you listen to when the Nation of Islam and Malcolm, they were talking about we need to defend ourselves. There's a difference between I need to defend myself and I need to be aggressive and I'm coming after you. One of the fears that Afrikaners had when they went to majority rule, and one of the reasons why they could never give up majority rule was the fear that the indigenous African people were going to take retribution for the horrors of apartheid and exploitation. That didn't happen. Nelson Mandela comes out with this Commission of Reconciliation, and all of these perpetrators of the horrors of apartheid had to do was get up and say, I'm sorry, and we keep it moving. Some people don't operate that way.
Right.
There's something called the Nuremberg trials, after World War II, because the American, the French, the Russians, and the English wanted these folks to be held responsible for the atrocities that they committed against humanity, right? So there is this thing where, but we've really been taught turn the other cheek.
So what do you do when you run out of cheeks?
And then, some people just ain't Christian. That ain't part of a theology that they operate within. It's like, you do something to me. It was like Sandra B's little girl.
Oh my God, yeah.
I was in children's church talking about turn the other cheek. She said, I know what you said, but my mama said,
hey, hit them back.
Right. If somebody, you hit them back.
Yeah.
Because that our survival depended on that. But how do you engender a certain docility to be what it seemed to be accepting of enslavement was part of, that's why we got a certain level of Christian indoctrination where, we talked about this ability to forgive and to move on. And, it's someone was saying that they used the Bible to make us docile and then gave white slave holders this. And I don't even know if they ever asked for forgiveness for enslavement. I know how long it took for the Southern Baptist Convention. And the reason why we even have a Southern Baptist Convention was because of enslavement. Because when there was this one big Baptist movement in America in the 1800s, there was a move to say that slave holders could not be missionaries. Why wouldn't you want slave holders to be missionaries? Because they wasn't going to convert you to Christ. They're getting ready to go to get you to come in to be a slave. Right. So then the Southern Baptists and then the Northern Baptists took a strong position against enslavement. And then we created the Southern Baptist Convention. And for many, many years, the Southern Baptists refused, even though based on their approach that many of the enslavers were Baptists.
Wow.
Caller. There is no caller. You listen to Community Voice. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Parris.
All right, welcome back. Giannis is back.
Yeah, he had 19 and 11 when he played. But they they got blew out by the YMCA squad. But now,
Are they tanking?
of course,
You think they're tanking?
and I think that it's going to be some major trades.
They don't have anything left to trade.
No. Though in the off season, they would
Maybe
have.
Giannis might be gone in the offseason.
No, I think Giannis is going to stay. They're going to have a high draft pick to actually pair with Giannis, and they probably go get another superstar like Ja or something like that.
This is
a loaded draft.
This class is loaded.
So that's why they actually in position because they saying that this draft is supposed to be better than the draft that D Wade and all the other cats.
2003.
Yeah, Doc. Yeah.
2003 was
crazy.
When
I think Chris Paul was in it. Yeah.
Chris Bosh.
Yeah, Chris Bosh.
Wade.
And yeah, man.
LeBron James.
Yeah.
LeBron, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, they said that this draft
was not everybody, 84 was a great draft. But okay. Yeah, 2003. Now the 84 draft, though, the number of Hall of Famers in that 84 draft, is it Bill Collector? No. Oh no, really? No, we can't accept the call.
Look, Larry. How mama them doing?
I work.
You said no, we can't accept that.
We work child support. You used to get those calls, right? Like dudes calling, talking, checking on their case, man, and you say, well, "You're getting a call from Wisconsin Correctional."
It's probably someone listening to the show.
Yeah, they have. This is going to be. It's going to be a pretty good draft.
Yeah, man, and they said, man, that this draft it can be like some stars in the 20s, like in the 20s. So
that's pretty deep. And these are freshmen.
Yeah, Doc, these coming out, man.
That kid in Illinois is good. Boozer at Duke.
Both of the Boozers.
Well, his brother though is he. They remind
guard.
me of but who the brothers that was
Harper?
at the brothers that was at Madison, UW Madison, light skinned dudes. Jonathan. Yeah, John. Oh, what those two, and they were brothers. One was a scorer, the other one wasn't as good. What was those brothers'
And
name?
Madison? UW Madison?
Yeah. Like
Recent?
Maybe 10 years ago, maybe not a little less than that. God, what was it? Oh, the Davis brothers.
Oh,
Jonathan Davis.
Jonathan Davis.
And
Johnny Davis. Yeah,
Johnny Davis and his brother.
Now, I think Johnny in the G League.
But the other dude, Hayes.
Yeah, he didn't even make it.
No, Hayes made it. He was part of a trade with the Bucks.
Yeah, but I think he got released.
He got released.
Yeah,
I didn't know he was still playing. Yeah, but the Davis brothers, that was because the one brother and they're twins too, right? The Boozers, aren't they twins?
Twins, yeah. Yeah,
ooh, those are
Cameron
really
and Caden, right?
Right, they're really fraternal twins, man. Because you talk about one is big and the other one is little.
Short, yeah.
I don't know if I think the smaller brother is gonna play another year. He's not.
Well,
ready
he
for the
needs to
NBA.
stay. Yeah,
he's not ready for the
so
NBA. But his brother,
he's
ready. And his brother, I mean, not only does he have the game, he got the NBA
he
body.
can shoot, and he can shoot.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at, a lot of times now you get people who kind of go beyond their physical stature. You look at Allen Iverson, Isaiah Thomas. Those dudes are once in generation talents.
Yeah.
But it helps to have an NBA body like Cade Cunningham. That brother, that's the prototype.
No, that cat Peterson, man, from Kansas, that's leading the league. That's leading the
country?
college league. Yeah, that's leading the country in points. But he check himself in and out of game because I guess he got problems with cramping or something going on with his system.
Yeah. But they put a nutritionist on him, and that'll deal with that little problem.
So they saying that he's going to be the number one pick. Outside of AJ,
I think Boozer's going to be the number one pick.
No, man. You see how AJ balling from BYU?
I'll never. There's two teams in college basketball I will never, ever acknowledge or cheer for.
What's that?
Brigham Young.
Why?
And Liberty University.
Those I like Liberty. So that was the small school with
the politics is all wrong. That is Jerry Farwell.
Okay.
And I'm not even going. And I gotta lighten up on Mormons. But I'd never cheer for BYU. BYU. I hate BYU.
Man, they balling though, man. They is ball. That boy AJ is a problem. I mean,
I think Boozer's
in college.
I think Boozer's number one pick.
Now, if Boozer is,
especially and Duke is doing well,
but it really depends on which team get the number one pick, because Utah is gambling for that pick. Chicago, all of those teams that's actually in that realm. Now, they said, man, that the Bucks can pick as high as 6 in this draft.
I hate to say shut it down, and I know the NBA is already, that's all they've been talking about, out there in the digital sphere is like, what do they call it? Tank gate.
Yeah. Tank gate. Yeah.
People trying to figure out how to tank. Yeah. But I mean, if you don't have anything really to play for, shut it down. Now I understand you have paying fans. Yeah. They want to see, you give your best efforts. It's like, oh man.
I honestly think
the Bucks lost to the Wizards.
Yeah, they lost. Yeah, back to Chris Middleton was.
He's gone.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about when they played the Wizards.
He's with Dallas now.
He's with Dallas now, but when they played the last game,
it doesn't sound like he said he want to play.
Who?
Chris Middleton.
But they were saying whatever that he might. He was looking at the buyout market,
right?
And he might, be able to go to a potential team that can go to the playoffs. They said LA might be the destination. Now, if he go to LA, I think that's going to be good for Chris.
Think LeBron going to hang it up?
I think
he's played with Bronny. So what else is there?
Yeah, there's nothing else unless he's tired of going through the off-season regimens and workouts, and he don't want to do that no more. I think he's going to come back and play another year.
And that's the thing, as you get older. And look, what he did last year was really phenomenal. I mean, just what he statistically was able to do.
Yeah.
But, at some point, man, it's better to walk away. I was Jim Brown was talking about how, he was making a movie, Dirty Dozen.
Yeah.
They wanted to come back. He was going to be late for training camp. And then his whole thing was, you know what? I can walk away on top.
Yeah.
Because I think the year before, 2 years prior, they had won an NFL championship. So in his mind, I could walk away. Very few people, though, can walk away. And for some folks, it ain't the money. Right. LeBron, it ain't the money.
It ain't the money.
But if you're a competitor, excuse me, and a lot of competitors like to go out on their shield.
Yeah.
I'm thinking if you can walk away from the game, Barry Sanders walked away from the game.
Yeah.
And no disrespect to the fans in Detroit who just felt like, but dude, I sit up here and I'll be in a wheelchair and we still didn't go to the Super Bowl.
Right. Yeah. So, Barry Sanders gave it all, and he wasn't able to reach that plateau.
I mean, so I admire those people that, if you can walk away when you're on top, walk away. But, the other piece of it is it's hard for us to accept mortality. It's hard for us to accept that things are finite, right? They have an end date on it. And it's hard. That's a hard one, man. That's why even like some of us played high school basketball, played college basketball, and probably end up playing our pickup ball longer than we should have, but it's hard to walk away.
Yeah. Like even now. It's hard for me to walk.
I know it's hard for you to walk away because you always challenging somebody.
Yeah,
I got a ball in the car.
Outside in the car.
I got my chucks in the car.
Man, I've been waiting for DJ. Man, DJ been running from this work, but I've been trying to give him this work, man.
All right, work.
Hey, I've been trying to give it to him.
Okay,
I got moves. I got the dream shake.
I think we do. Debo, do we do a white shroud for injured? Who's that white shroud on that seat? Well, right out. Yeah, right out thought, and I'm gonna tell you the number one injury you're gonna tear up your Achilles.
See, but
You're gonna tear up your Achilles.
but
That is
that's the thing though, because I actually stretch and play ball on the regular.
you're gonna tear up your Achilles.
No, don't you wish that on me, Ricky Bobby. don't you wish that on me.
I'm just saying. Man.
no.
I you coming in here with a boot, and I'm going, So who are you playing against?
They're like, I won. Booted up, I won.
I'm crippled.
I won.
But I won.
I won. That's all that count. I won.
As they rolled him out the
Right.
on the gurney. I won.
Rolling out.
It wasn't really a win.
Hey, you know how they always
Right, man. Let everybody know you're okay. You give them the thumbs up as they roll you out the gym.
They're like, oh man, we knew he was gonna get hurt. I'm okay, guys.
I'm okay. I'm all right. Tell mama I'm okay. and I be going like, you got it, but I know you hurting. I like the dudes. They ain't doing no thumbs up. They crying. They in pain. But you got that one brother. Got to let them know. I'm all right.
Hey, because matter of fact, when Dame Lillard got hurt, he was just. But when Tatum got hurt, you can tell he was in pain.
And
he was like, it was that agony pain.
And
like
not only the pain, you realize,
I'm done.
I'm done.
Yeah.
I mean, that, and then it probably really hadn't hit you because you're still in shock. The body goes into shock to deal with the pain. And then when you go like, so all right, man, so we'll have video.
I'm telling you.
From the YMCA.
Hey, DJ, if you're listening, we got courts all in between the station, man. So whenever you ready for this smoke, brother. I know you listening somewhere out there in Radio Land. I know you listening.
Yeah,
I want my work.
It's okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. Can I do this before we go? I just had a flashback. My wife's gonna get on me for this, but should you take your girl with you when you play in Muni Rec?
No.
Or you play in pickup ball? Should your girl be with you?
No. That's a no. I've learned no. Baby, go to the mall. Go get your nails done. You're not coming to the courts. No.
And you be out there now. You be all out your game.
Yeah.
You doing stuff you never took a three.
I mean, you trying all type of moves. Like, what is you doing? You don't even ball like that.
Hey, wait a minute. She don't know anything about ball. She just there with her man.
Just watching you.
No, I used to hate that. Like on the playground, dude bring his girl. Like,
you already know he ain't passing the ball.
He ain't passing the ball.
He ain't gonna pass the ball.
He's trying to impress her.
Yeah. And then
he get done.
Come
on, let's go.
Not only that, but he on the court hooping, but he looking at her to see who she looking at.
She on the way home. She was right. I told you.
Uh-huh. You trash.
I'm not gonna call his name because he my boy, and we've been boys since we were kids. But I saw him and his wife, and he said, "Keith, tell my wife, man, I was a baller back in the day." I had a dilemma.
Like,
do I lie?
I should not tell a lie.
And look, man, I know you wanna look big in your woman's eyes. So I just kind of went like, yeah.
Say, you know what, Keith? You should have used this. Ask me no more questions, and I'll tell you no more lies. Because, brother,
well, he could tell that there was some apprehension.
Yeah, well, how you paused. Hey, man, you was on the bench, man. Yeah, you was balling.
All right, just so you dudes out there still playing, don't take your girl.
Ever don't Don't do that, please. Leave your girl at
And
home.
you know what's really jacked up?
What's that?
And then you get hurt.
Oh man.
Because you're out there doing something you normally don't do.
All these moves that you don't even have in your bag. I hate playing with cats like that, man. I hate that. And pass the ball, man.
Threw the whole team concept off because you brought that woman. You brought that woman. No, man, leave her at home, man, for a lot of reasons,
Man.
you know, and you keep your ego intact. You go home and lie about how well you did.
Yeah, because I guarantee you, while you on the court, it's some slick jack on the side looking at her like, ooh.
Right, because, you know, there are the Vanessa Johnsons in the world
Yeah.
who know ball, right?
Yeah.
Every time Vanessa come up in here, oh, yeah, keep to tell you, like, Vanessa, let's not do this.
Yeah.
Let's not do this. Hey, let me thank people. Callers, I thank you. The good Lord will and creek don't rise. Up to talk to everybody tomorrow. And as always, go from this place in peace.